So in this video, we're going to be finding all real zeros of a polynomial function. So the polynomial function we'll be using is f of x equals 6x to the third minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 2. Now we're just looking for the real zeros. We're not necessarily looking for any imaginary zeros that we might be getting. So the first thing we want to do is we want to list all of our zeros, like all of the possibilities. So all possible real zeros. Make a list. Now to do that, that means that we're going to need the factors. So the factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. And the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. And so now we just need to put these together. So we're going to have plus or minus, and we're going to have, so we'll have 2 over 1, and we'll have plus or minus 2 over 6, and we'll have plus or minus 2 over 2, and we'll have plus or minus 2 over 3. So notice that the 2 right here went with each of the factors for 6, and that's just parts. So now we have to do all of the 1s as well. So we also have plus or minus 1 over 1. We have plus or minus 1 over 6. We have plus or minus 1 over 2. And lastly, we have plus or minus 1 over 3. So we can reduce a lot of these, and we just don't need any repeats. So what we're looking at here is we have a plus or minus 2, a plus or minus 1/3, a plus or minus 1, a plus or minus 2/3, a plus or minus, that's going to be a 1 again, so we don't need to rewrite that. So we can move over to the 1/6, and we don't have 1/2 yet, so plus or minus 1/2, but we do already have 1/3, so we don't need that one. So this right here represents our list of possible real zeros. There's 12 choices in total because each one could be positive or negative. So what we could do is we could try guessing, and we could try doing some synthetic division. 6, -4, 3, and -2. And we could say, oh, hey, maybe a positive 1, right? From right here, maybe the positive 1 is the answer. And we could try that. We could go, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's bring down our 6. And then we multiply, right? So 6 times 1 is 6. And then we get to add, and that gives us a 2. And then we get to multiply, and 2 times 1 is 2. And then we get to add, and that gives us a 5. And then we get to multiply, and 5 times 1 is 5. And then we get to add, and we're going to see that we get a 3, which is not 0. So 1 is not a solution. So it'd be really, really time consuming to do this for 12 different choices. So an option is to use your graphing calculator to help you narrow it down. And so if we take our calculator and we plug in our equation here, let's see, so we have 6x to the third minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 2, and then we hit graph, and we see that 1's not going to be an answer, but nothing is negative and nothing is greater than 1. So we need an answer between 0 and 1, which is going to give us a few choices. So if we're looking for a number that's between 0 and 1, we might try to look at the 1/3 or the 2/3. Oh, it looks like I wrote down 1/3 twice. Let's get rid of that. So we only have 10 choices if we're taking off that second 1/3 that shouldn't have been there. So there's 2 choices left, right? We have the 1/3 or the 2/3, and it can't be negative because we saw on the graph that they're positive. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up our synthetic division again. So 6, -4, 3, and -2. And so now it's just a thing of trying what you think might be best. It's kind of a 50-50 chance on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 2/3. I'm going to try 2/3. So I'm going to use 2/3. All right, so we're going to bring down our 6, and we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to do that diagonal move. So 2/3 times 6 is a 4. So we're going to put our 4 there, and then we'll add, and we see that we get a 0, which is great. But we still have to go diagonal. So we multiply. 0 times 2/3 is 0. So now we get to add, and 3 times 0 is 3. And then we're going to move diagonal again. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2/3, which is a 2. Then we're going to add, and that's going to give us a 0. So we kind of lucked out that here we see that we've got a 0 there, which means that this answer right here, this 2/3, that's our solution. That's our 0. So that is the 0 of our polynomial function. So we can say x equals 2/3 is a solution. And we saw on the graph that we only had one positive, and so we know that 2/3 is our answer. Now, something that I want to point out really quick is the list we made isn't just all possible real zeros. This is actually all possible rational zeros. So it's a little bit more specific because you could still end up getting a 0 of the square root of 2 or the square root of 5. And so this list is strictly just the rational zeros.